I would like to say I'm aware of how popular Bioshock was when it first released in 2007 and is still loved by many people. I never played the game when it first released, and my first time playing it was when it became free for PS Plus in February 2020. So this review is going to be based on my first experience playing it. And so, if you don't like what I say and you have any problems with what I say, then happy go shut the fuck up. With that said, let's get into the review. Hi everyone, it's me, Ace here, back at you again with another review, and this time it's on the horror survival shooter game, Bioshock. I was very intrigued by the story when I first started this, as I didn't know what I was getting into. A horror game where you get to explore a lost underwater civilization while shooting a bunch of never-ending enemies who look like most of them had emergency surgery and wanted to become the new Elephant Men? Throw those two concepts in a blender and you should have an amazing creation. Now imagine using that same blender to mix together vomit and shit, and you have Bioshock. As the game starts up, you take control of the player, as the trophy list calls you, or for those of you who already know the character name, Jack, the most generic of all possible fucking names to give someone, and if he had a surname, it would be shit. In fact, the name is so boring, from this point on, I'll call the character Octrillius Dunkleberry. Octrillius has a plane crash in the middle of the ocean and conveniently finds a 1930s elevator in working order to go down into the heart of Rapture. From there, you must tediously walk from point A to point B, complete designated objectives, and kill all the Elephant Men who want to kill Octrillius. The most simple concept for any game in existence, and, Bioshockingly enough, this game can't even do that without putting me into a fucking coma. There are a few boss characters who you have to fight and kill, but this offers no variety in terms of things to do. They are also very bland in terms of design, so nothing worth mentioning, but on the upside, at least they have better names than Octrillius. The main objective is to kill a boss called Frank Fontaine at the end, and to ultimately escape the city of Rapture and get on with whatever Octrillius was doing before all this happened. Before anyone says anything, I am aware of the plot, how the story unfolds, and what the actual ending is, and with everything I've said about the story so far, I know the die-hard fans of Bioshock aren't going to like me very much, so I'll give you some advice now. Change your name to Octrillius Dunkleberry by deed poll and go down 500 fathoms so I don't have to tolerate your stupidity. If you disagree, then don't be an arsehole. Be like our more civil fans. When Octrillius finds out the truth as to why he is here, and once everything falls into place like the last piece of a jigsaw puzzle, you get to breathe a huge sigh of relief as you can turn off the game and reflect on all that time you just completely fucking wasted. The upside is that you can go back to playing a game with a quality story. While this review was being written, I was playing through the story of Ghost of Tsushima. Now, onto the rating for the story. I would rate it a 0, but I can't do that, so just to give it a number, I'll give it a 1 out of 10. With the gameplay, things improve slightly, but that isn't saying much. The jumping control is fucking weird, as I have never played a game on PlayStation where triangle is jump. Why the fuck isn't it the X button? Having the triangle button jump is fucked up. The guns are fine, good variety of choices to help Octrillius kill the Elephant Men. However, for a game that looks so much like the steampunk age, I expected something crazy, like a makeshift weapon that looks out of place. You'd think it was a kitchen appliance. I only used the machine gun and the shotgun, as I never found any form of enemy where a different weapon would give me a significant advantage. The level designs and environments themselves are well below what I expected. Granted, this game did release in 2007, but there are games older than this where the dev teams actually seem to care about the game environments. Then the Bioshock dev team came along and was like, nah, fuck the game looking good. What number on the shit scale were they at when they decided this? I guess they decided to try and make up the difference with the abundance of places to go, as there are a few. However, this does not excuse the game looking like a dog shit it out in the aesthetic department. The Elephant Men can give you some challenge, at least, with all the different types that there are. Screw the Houdinis and the Nitros. But when you figure out what they do and how to deal with them in the quickest manner, there is no sense of achievement anymore. To get bonus damage, you have to use a camera to research the enemies. Now this was a good idea, as it adds a unique twist on the typical kill the enemy to gain experience to deal damage quicker and faster. The downside is you have to do this without getting bored. If the enemies see you, it must be really strange and weird from their perspective, as they see you taking pictures of them while they are trying to kill you. They probably think, what the hell is this guy doing? I often wondered if taking pictures of the little sisters was a good idea. just walking around taking pictures of little girls without anyone's permission. It makes you look like a perverted old git. I'm surprised the big daddies don't stop you from doing it. Also, yes, the little sisters have big daddies to protect them. I want to know what the thought process was behind naming them those specific things. There are two types of big daddy in the game, which are bouncers and rosies. One has a nail gun and the other has a drill, and we all know what happens when you get drilled by a big daddy. Once you kill them, you have the option to either save or basically murder the little sister. Whichever choice you make, you'll get Adam, which is the currency, and you use this to buy plasmas and tonics, which give you power-ups to aid your fights. Like locations of the game, there are a fair few. I mainly use the freeze and the telekinesis. You can mix and match the plasmids with gene banks to utilise what style you want. On top of the Elephant Men, Octrillius also has to deal with Rapture security. On top of the Elephant Men, Octrillius also has to deal with Rapture security. This comes in the way of drones, cameras and turrets. Nothing remotely interesting to say about that. Like the story, the gameplay also put me into a fucking coma because I was so bored I was losing brain cells and I died a lot simply because my attention span kept fading away. Now, for the gameplay rating, if you guessed I would give this a higher number than 1, you'd be completely wrong. I give the gameplay a 1 out of 10. The price I think the game is worth is nothing. Nada, zilch, and every other word you can think of for zero. I regretted playing it when it was free. So my overall points for this game are 2 out of 20. An appropriately dismal score for an appropriately dismal game. To all the people who disagree with me but respect what I have to say, I hope you all have a great day. And for all the Octrillius Dunkleberries that will most likely appear in the comments section, fuck off back to Rapture where you bloody belong.